All right, let's take the drama and put it aside for a while. Can we just make cool things for a little while, huh? I've been working on my Doctor Who chess set, which I started with the pieces, but I wanted to continue to have a board, and then I thought it would be really nice to have a carrying case for all of the pieces. So I started working on that. Now, for the board, I went the route of laser cutting. I was originally going to do a 3D printed board where the case just opened up and you could play chess with it, kind of like I did with the Royal Game of but I wasn't really happy with the direction that was going. That just didn't feel right. And once I got access to a laser cutter, oh, that opened up some possibilities, and I'm really happy with what I'm producing with that. But in this video, I want to talk about the case, so if you want to know more about the board, for now, I'll send you to my blog where I've got some more information. Go check that out. And then make sure to hit the comments section where I will have a link to the post about this video. I wanted to make a case, and I started basically what I wanted to do was make holes specific to each piece that they could each have an individual home. So I opened up Blender, I imported all of the pieces, and I started measuring the shapes around them. And that worked for the most part. It was working to start with, and I had to design it with overhangs on the top and the bottom because, like the Royal Game of board, I planned for it to print standing up, hinged with two separate pieces to interlock and opened up when it was all done. But that also fueled the decision to put the latches for it on the side, and those latches don't quite touch. They can't because they print right next to each other, which means that this is not going to be a super tight latch, but it should still work. Then I printed it out and it worked pretty good, and then I tested it out. I put all the pieces in there, I closed it up, I opened them up, and it was a mess. Plus, this whole thing was really big. It's almost as big as the chessboard is. I might as well have just put a chessboard on here. And like I said, I didn't necessarily want to do that. So it didn't perform its proper function, and I wasn't going to make it into a chessboard. So I decided, okay, let's get rid of the individual holes for each pieces on the inside and just open up the inside of it. And that's what I did, which enabled me to make the whole thing a lot smaller. This one worked, except that the print pulled itself up off the print bed, or more accurately, I was printing it on my Replicator 1, which has a magnetic build plate, and it caused the build plate to shift. And I couldn't quite figure out why at this time, but I checked the interior and all the pieces fit in there comfortably, but I did have an overhang on the top, and I thought maybe the overhang was part of the problem. So I continued to play with the design, and with this particular one, I got the layer shifting again really badly, and so I stopped the print. I got to thinking that maybe the overhang was the problem. Now, at this point, I added the round things to the inside of the interior. What are the round things? I have no idea, but I love the round things. So I printed it again, and this particular print again enabled me to test that I did have enough room inside for all of the pieces, but it failed because I ran out of filament. Fortunately, I try to always keep blue on hand, and I tried it again, and I got another really bad layer shift. Now, about this time, I realized what was happening, or at least I had a good theory as to what was happening. See, the magnetic build plate holds onto the print, but if the print shrinks, and PLA does shrink, people make a big deal about, oh, PLA is less shrinky. Yes, it is less shrinky, but it still shrinks. So if you have a large flat object that you're printing, it's possible that it'll pull up the sides. But it didn't detach from the build plate. Quite the contrary. It pulled the build plate with it. And with that build plate, overcoming the magnetism of that build plate caused it to bow and pivot on itself, which caused it to shift. So I printed another one, and this time I clamped down that build plate. There was no leaving the build plate for this particular model. At this point, I still had the overhangs on the top and the bottom, and the overhangs on the top were really pushing it. They're cruddy on the inside here. They're just not worth saving. But I realized, I don't need to have overhangs on the bottom. That's just there to match the top. But if I slide it over so that this side is flat and this side gets all the overhang, I won't lose any of the internal space, and I will be able to put the overhangs where they do the best. And that was my next iteration. So I put the overhangs on just one side, and I kind of like that with the overhangs on just one side, if you partially open this makes it look like it's got a flat back wall. However, the overhangs still didn't look great. They were okay on one side, but not so great on the other side. And about this time, I made another revelation. In shrinking the box down, I made this almost big enough to print on a mini if it were laying down. Now, printing on a mini isn't a design necessity, but if I'm going to make a model available to everybody, I want it to be as available as possible. Now, about this time, I also started adding a notch in the top, and my plan was to make a little TARDIS console that fits in the top that when you close becomes the light. And so I was able to test and prove that that did work, which was super exciting. But at the same time, I had the thought that if I opened it up and laid it down and printed as the two separate pieces side by side, I wouldn't need any overhang. I could gain that internal space back just by making these both solid walls, which enabled me to make this just slightly smaller. And more than that, because these latches were laying down and pointing up, I didn't have to worry about them touching on the other side. They were being printed separately. And so I could push them out just a little bit so that when it closes nice and tight and doesn't come out except with a little bit of pressure, which was perfect. So I got this one done. This was the first almost complete success. And I added the little TARDIS console. And just for fun, I also threw in a little canine dog. This is not, of course, necessary to playing chess, but I thought, I've kind of got a Doctor Who playset here. But, as a playset, it might be better if I maybe put a shelf in there so that I could stack them too high. It might look better in pictures and stuff like that. There wouldn't be enough for the whole set, but it would be neat to have them fill the vertical space as well. So I added a shelf to the design. It was as easy as adding a cube to the model and scaling it properly. But what I discovered in this process is that this one that's more open, I can take all of these chess pieces and just toss them in there and shut it, and it works fine, including the console and the canine console up top where it needs to be. But with this one, with the shelf in the middle, it was a little bit harder to get everything positioned in there properly, make sure that there's no overlap, put the console in, and then close it carefully so that nobody falls in between the shelf and gets caught and prevents you from closing it. It's a little bit harder to get this one closed. So that's the question is, what do we want? Do we want the ultimate TARDIS playset, or do we want a box that's easy to carry your TARDIS pieces on? And I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Is it more important to be cool and fun looking for the pictures, or is it more important to be easy to use? And it's not that much more difficult to use. It's just on that edge of, I'm really wondering what the right answer to this is. Now, like I said, I wasn't happy with this shade of blue, and going forward, I'm going to use another one because my friends at CC Tree sent me some filament. They call this CR10 filament, but it's really just 1.75 millimeter PLA. Now, I printed a whole set of the Doctor pieces in this PLA, and it worked great. It's got great layer adhesion. It looks really good. And where CC Tree tells me that their filament really stands out is that they have made this PLA slightly more flexible and able to stand up to more than a year of storage, which is important. If you've ever got to the end of a roll of filament and it gets really wound around there because it's so tight and small that it won't unwind, and it's really, really rigid, so it just keeps breaking and breaking and breaking, you end up just getting frustrated at throwing away the last couple of meters of filament because it's just not worth the frustration. Hopefully, CC Tree has figured out the solution to that. Now, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to be able to endorse that for at least, another little while of printing. I've got to get to the middle before I can confirm that. And that's the sort of thing that you wouldn't notice during the printing process, you wouldn't notice that your filament was not failing. You only notice it when something goes wrong. So I'm going to have to pay special attention as I'm printing with this to make sure that their promise is true. But for now, I'm looking forward to finding that out. And their shade of blue is much better. I haven't printed a board with it, but I did print some supporter tiles. So I've got some more Patreon and direct supporter tiles to share with you guys. I'm going to now take those and find them a home on the shelf. I kind of enjoy this part because it's a bit like building a puzzle. So special thanks to John Morgan, Graham Williams, Danny Lint, Frederick Vogg's full name. You guys have got your supporter tiles now up on the wall. There will be more coming in very close future videos, but thank you to all my Patreon and direct backers. Your support is more necessary than ever, and you guys are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you very much. If you like this project, you can find out more about it in the description, in the link for my blog, and as well as the description for this video. But that's it. I want to thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of this project, and as always, safety first. I'll see you next time.
Do you want to know more about 3D printing but don't know where to start? Or did you buy a 3D printer but you need some help getting it going? Don't panic. The Beginner's Guide to the 3D Printing Galaxy is here, now, for you. Buy it on Amazon.